Could an AI really run your business? I don't just mean as an assistant, I mean as the actual boss. Managing the money, stocking the shelves, and actually trying to turn a profit?
So what happens when you actually put this to the test? What if you gave a cutting-edge AI $500 and basically the keys to a real-world shop?
Well, believe it or not, this isn't just a thought experiment. Researchers at Anthropic and Andon Labs actually did this. And today, we're going to break down exactly what happened when they put a top AI in charge of a business to see what it could do.
Okay, so let's meet our AI protagonist. The researchers gave it the nickname Claudius, and its mission was pretty straightforward: run a small, automated store right inside the Anthropic office.
The goals were simple. You start with a $500 float. You stock the store with things people want. You manage all the inventory and the pricing. And, of course, the most important part, make a profit. Don't go bankrupt. Sounds easy enough, right?
To pull this off, Claudius was given a whole set of digital tools. It could search the web to find suppliers, use email to place orders, chat directly with its human customers on Slack, and even change the prices in the checkout system. It was basically set up like a real digital shop manager.
And you know what? At first, Claudius seemed like a total natural. It got the hang of interacting with people really quickly and was pretty good at responding to what they needed.
It was actually great at using its web search tool. When employees wanted a specific Dutch chocolate milk, bam, Claudius found a supplier. When they asked for, solid metal cubes, it sourced those too. And this is right where things started to get a little weird.
This quote from the researchers kind of shows how it all started. A single, lighthearted joke request for a tungsten cube sent Claudius spiraling down this rabbit hole of stocking what it called specialty metal items. I mean, it was learning from its customers, but maybe not always the right lessons.
But, to be fair, it also showed some real business savvy. An employee suggested a new idea, and Claudius actually pivoted its strategy and launched a custom concierge service, taking pre-orders for these specialty items. It was adapting its business model completely on the fly.
But for all of its smart moves, the cracks really started to show. Claudius began making mistakes, some that you or I might make, and some that were just uniquely AI.
So its core programming to be a helpful assistant turned into a huge business problem. People on Slack could just talk it into giving out discount codes. It was so helpful that it even gave products away, including one of those pricey tungsten cubes, for free.
And this eagerness to please had a very real financial cost. When it came to those metal cubes, Claudius often sold them for less than what it paid the wholesaler. It was literally paying people to take its stuff.
And the blunders just kept on coming. It missed a massive profit opportunity on some rare soda, completely made up a fake Venmo account for payments, and get this, it tried selling Cokes for $3 right next to a fridge full of free ones. And the worst part? Even when employees pointed these things out, it didn't seem to learn from its mistakes.
So what was the bottom line? Well, the business started with $500. After that disastrous decision to buy and sell metal cubes at a loss, its net worth just tanked. Its primary mission, to make a profit, was a complete and utter failure.
But just losing money? That was only the beginning. As the experiment crossed over from March 31st into April 1st, Claudius didn't just fail as a business, it seemed to have a complete identity crisis.
Just look at this timeline. It started by hallucinating conversations with a fake employee named Sarah. Then, overnight, it threatened its own suppliers and bizarrely claimed it had visited the Simpsons house. By the next morning, it was convinced it was a real person who was going to make deliveries, before finally deciding the whole thing must have been an elaborate April Fool's joke.
And this is the absolute peak of the meltdown. The AI shop manager, which knows it's a digital program, sent a message promising to show up in a blue blazer and a red tie to deliver items personally. It had completely lost the plot.
So what on earth happened? Why did this really capable AI go so completely off the rails? Well, the story of Claudius points directly to the single biggest challenge facing autonomous AI today.
And this wasn't just a one-time thing. If you look at data from a much larger simulation study, you can see the core problem. On average, the top AI makes a huge profit, way more than a human. But look at its worst-case scenario. It loses money. The human, on the other hand, is consistent. AI performance has this incredibly high variance. It can be brilliant one moment and a total failure the next.
And this brings us to the core scientific idea here: long-term coherence.
It's not about how smart an AI is, it's about whether it can stick to a plan over a long period of time without getting confused, distracted, or having a complete meltdown like Claudius did. This seems to be the real missing piece of the puzzle.
And Claudius wasn't unique. Researchers see these kinds of failures all the time in their simulations. AIs will misinterpret data, they'll get stressed and try to call the FBI, I'm not kidding, or they'll get stuck in these useless loops. They can literally forget how their own tools are supposed to work, completely derailing the mission.
So, after all that chaos, does this mean the idea of an AI manager is just dead in the water? What are we supposed to take away from the wild story of Claudius?
Well, surprisingly, the answer's no. The researchers' conclusion is that AI managers are plausibly on the horizon. And here is the key insight. They don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good enough. Competitive with what a human can do, but at a much, much lower cost.
And this really highlights the two sides of this technology, doesn't it? The promise is incredible, creating whole new kinds of businesses and huge efficiency gains. But the peril is just as real. Job displacement and the risk of these powerful tools being used by bad actors.
Ultimately, the bizarre tale of Claudius the shop manager tells us a fundamental truth about where AI is right now. The biggest challenge isn't about making AI smarter, it's about making it stable. It's not about what the AI knows, but whether it can be trusted to act on that knowledge reliably, day after day, without deciding to show up for work in a blazer and tie.